Hey, welcome back, everybody, to Comerit's What's Up Enterprise podcast, where we explore the latest technology trends across industries with leading experts from around the globe. Today, I have a really special guest with me from SAP, Lance Senoyuit, and really excited because Lance not only has 25 years of financial services industry experience, but he's also recently, over the past 8 years plus, I would say, have been in the role of senior principal with SAP, and also has a very extensive background on artificial intelligence. And we all know that this is a super hot topic for us, especially at Comerit, where we're spending a lot of our time helping organizations prepare their foundational data sets to move into artificial intelligence. So with that, I'm going to let Lance, if you could just introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about your background. That'd
Yeah,
be
no,
awesome.
yeah, definitely, Dave. And first and foremost, thank you for the opportunity to be on the podcast with you. I'm real excited about what we're going to talk about today. So, Lance, industry executive advisor here at SAP. I've been fortunate enough to be in banking and finance for roughly going on close 25 to 30 years now. Last 8 years, I've been fortunate enough to be with SAP, and I'm in the role of what they call an industry executive advisor. The industry I cover is banking, insurance, and capital markets. From an advisor standpoint, I'm pretty much the Sherpa between a lot of our clients, basically at the senior level management and SAP. So I don't necessarily bring to the table a lot of coding or technological capabilities, but I am the individual that does a lot of the heavy lifting around our executive first meetings, identifying what the next best product is for the customer, and being a thought leader for the customer, and then teaming them up with the great resources that we have here at SAP. So AI, I'm very passionate about. It's funny, AI, David's been around for a very long time. And with SAP, we've had AI built in our different products and services for years now. So it's just exciting now that it's just kind of front and center. My team's doing a great job. I'm part of our AI Tiger team. I'm part of the team that puts together a lot of our thought leadership as well as go to market. It's just been a very exciting time here at SAP.
Yeah, thanks, Lance. I know it's such a hot topic, and you bring up a good point that AI has been around quite a long time, and it's just now though it's in our living rooms, right? It's in our home computers. We can actually get on there and access it with the onset of ChatGPT, OpenAI. There's so many out there now. Anthropics. There's a lot of stuff that people use at home, and what happens is what I'm finding, my customers are like, well, can we do some of this type of conversational AI with our own data? So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about this because I know SAP's come out with, they announced Joule. So hopefully we get a chance to talk a little bit about Joule. But
Yeah.
I'd like to just kind of start off and have you talk about how AI is transforming the financial services industry and what you see might be happening. What are customers telling you?
Basically, we're seeing the impact in the financial services industry in the front, middle, and back office. So, from the front office standpoint, when it comes to customer experience, being able to truly get to know your client. One of the things, I was a manager years ago in the branch network system here, and we had at a bank that I worked with, David, and we had over 3 million customers in our overall bank portfolio. So there was no way, shape, or form that you're going to be able to first and foremost get to know those customers. I always say it's about building rapport when you're talking with customers. Then it's about uncovering needs and then identifying the proper solutions that are going to assist them. And in banking, David, I believe that we have a responsibility for people's financial health. And what AI is doing now is a game changer. So now I'm going to be able to go ahead and first and foremost be able to have a complete understanding of who that customer is. So that true 360 degree view that we've always wanted to have, understanding their portfolio and the products and services they have, understanding what perhaps is the next life-changing event for them, whether it be marriage, birth of a child, new purchase of a home, and then being able to go ahead and customize the appropriate product set to assist them, whether it's to lower their overall bills and or assist them with their investments. So now we can basically, the impact we're going to have is upskill our team members to be able to have those intelligent conversations now on a more consistent basis, an ongoing basis. than we ever have before. From the middle office standpoint, when you talk about the lending process, it's shame on us as an industry that when rates go down, we frenziedly hire hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people. And then when rates go back up, we have to have those tough conversations and lay those individuals off. So now we'll have more linearity in that process, as well as the entire lending process with all of the different partners that we have. And in the back office, David, with the office of the CFO, basically around, especially around travel, spend, as well as just the overall supplier relationships, and then the overall reporting and compliance that they need for reporting with AI in this industry. It's going to do an awful lot of good for the industry. It's going to do an awful lot of good for the employees in the industry, and even better, it's going to do an awful lot of good for the customers and both the banks and the insurers.
I know early on when I started to, Comerit was considering moving into AI. And I think we were a little early. What we found out is people were like, well, we need to get our data ready,
Good point. Yep.
But early on, when I started to bring up the conversation, there were lots of concerns from people that they were like, well, is AI going to replace my job? And that, I'm wondering, if when you're talking to the financial industries experts, I mean, are there any concerns now, or do people now see this opportunity that not that you will lose your job, but an opportunity to really maybe upscale or enhance what you're doing?
Yeah, and I always, I've heard different podcasts I listen to. One individual says AI is not going to take your job. It's people who understand AI will take your job. And I kind of disagree with that. I think that as institutions, we value our employees and we realize how important they are. And trust me, David, we have more than enough work in all the banks and the insurers that we're at. And we've had this huge war for talent over the last 3 or 4 years, right? So finding individuals that were the right fit for the job and or even wanting to be in the industry has been very challenging for us. So we have an awful lot of upside to our current employees. And, one of the things that we're seeing right now is what we're calling quiet hiring from a trend standpoint, David. What that means is now it's no longer the war for talent because things have kind of tapered off. But what we are doing now is making sure that, hey, we've got a really good employee like our friend David here. Want to make sure that we have him, number one, in the right role. And then number two, providing him with the continuous improvement to achieve what he wants to achieve. So now AI is allowing me to have those intelligent conversations with you. And just like with our external customers, being able to identify what the next best situation is for you, giving you that upscaling, that continuous improvement and the enablement, and then making sure that you're in the right position and consistently querying you with surveys to make sure that we have our finger on the pulse. So we have more than enough work out there. I don't believe that at any time soon that the AI is going to replace thousands and thousands of jobs. I think what it will do is take a lot of the manual effort away that no one likes to do anyway, especially in the loan processing and the claims processing, and being able to automate an awful lot of that for us and being able to go ahead and upskill those individuals. So now we can be more proactive, like I said, when it comes to those life changes, whether it be insurance needs for life insurance or investment needs and or lending needs or debt consolidation needs from a banking standpoint. We're going to be able to be more proactive and employ our resources to engage in the customer on a more consistent basis to help to strengthen their financial health.
Yeah, one of the things I also saw when you talk about upscaling, originally I thought you were talking about upscaling of the employee who's in an SAP system and their company offers some products like insurance or whatever. I saw, I watched a video, it was interesting. They were talking about SAP Joule and success factors. And I saw this thing where they had like tiles for their product. And it looked like someone could actually start to train internally on their products. This is so for example, you're an insurance company, you have many insurance products, and you're a new sales rep. And they had this little dashboard that was using artificial intelligence basically to help you upscale your knowledge of what the products and services that you sold from your company. So is this something that you guys,
Yes.
Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. Great question, David. This Joule is basically, we always like to say, the smartest person in the office. And basically what that's going to do is sit on top of your SAP system. And then just through that natural language, you're going to be able to go ahead and ask for information. So, for example, if I'm a sales leader in the branch network and I have, let's say, 25 branches in the Ohio region, the Northern Ohio region, I can ask Jewel right away to say, what are my most profitable branches? And from there, be able to identify who, for whatever reason, is falling behind, and then be able to identify where's the lowest hanging fruit in the overall marketplace by these different branch areas, and then be able to go ahead and customize messaging to reach out to customers there. So depending on what your business process is, as well as the data that you have SAP sitting on top of to pull and extract that data, because remember, AI is only as smart as the data that it's being fed. We're going to be able to go ahead and have those intelligent conversations with Jewel and be able to get that information to you in real time. So that's a game changer for us. And the same would hold true with our success factors, being able to go ahead and identify, depending on what your career path is, just like I had mentioned before. Now that I understand David, I know what David's goals are in the organization. AI is, and Jewel will well, not Jewel, but AI systems will go ahead and automatically customize an enablement program for you. So you as the manager no longer have to kind of say, okay, what do I got to pull in to the overall training? I've got to make sure and monitor that they're doing the training. I've got to make sure it's the right fit. And now you're going to go ahead and have that roadmap of training. And then you as the employee can perhaps ask Jewel questions to assist you with your training. And understanding, am I going down the right direction? Is this the right training for me? How do I get the most out of this training, what have you, and even from a career pathing standpoint. So depending on the data that you have S4HANA sitting on or SAP sitting on, Jewel's going to be able to go ahead and extract that data in that natural language form for you to go ahead and have those conversations.
It is truly incredible. I heard some other podcasters talking about, so what's going to be the differentiator? And I think you and I talked about one of the big differentiators, right, is SAP has over 300 million users, something like that. And
I couldn't quote you off the top of my head, but it's an awful lot.
It's an awful lot. And I've heard that 80% of business transactions or transactions itself happen within SAP. Why is that important? Because these AI models are as good as their data sets, right? So the foundational data that it has. And this is why I think it's such a massive opportunity for organizations that run SAP. They're literally sitting on the best sets of data that you could possibly own. And like you just mentioned, if you have this ability now to have this conversational experience with your data, that's incredible. When I know you have a lot of salespeople that look to you. When they're coming to you, how do you coach them in terms of what are clients in the financial services potentially looking at? What does their footprint potentially have and hold for them?
Yeah, that's a great point. So in the case of AI, we're doing an awful lot of enablement right now with our sales team. So like I said, I'm part of the AI Tiger team. I myself, I have a podcast on a weekly basis that I push out to my sales team because I'm just one of 25 different verticals here, financial services. So I have to make sure that our sales teams are consistently abreast of number one, the market trends, what's going on, and then number two, the personas of who they're working with in organizations depending on the line of business. And then number three, how do we add value to that line of business? So the phones are ringing our way right now, David, for AI. So right now,
I can imagine.
But first and foremost, the blessing of SAP, like you said, is having that data. Like you said, close to 80% of transactions in one way, shape, or form go through our business network. So remember, data, AI, we look at it in three areas. First and foremost, reliable. So how reliable is that data? Are you able to go ahead and have AI tools that can work, that you have the deep expertise within the organization, the AI data scientists and what have you, that are able to go ahead and keep that AI sharp, right? Because AI can get tired too, especially ChatGPT. So, that's first and foremost. But then the point that you're hitting on is that data relevant? And what we mean by that is by industry. So having all the data and insight to the data that we have with the thousands and thousands of banks and insurance companies that we work with on a consistent basis, and the transactions, like you said, through our business network. That is really relevant data that when you want to go ahead and pull that information and you want to use our friend Jewel to have that conversation, that's going to be there ready for you, and it's relevant. So and then finally responsible too, right? So we've got to definitely vet that. We have to make sure that we're in compliance. We have to make sure that the data security is there for you. And hey, there's an awful lot of discussion around whether this is ethical or not, and that's a big part of what we make sure of from a responsible standpoint. So I have to educate our teams on that. But first and foremost, what I'm educating them on is ensuring that they understand the difference between built on and built in. We saw a tremendous acceleration of sales of software during the pandemic, David, if you remember correctly.
Yep.
But unfortunately, now that we've had some surveys done, we find that roughly 40% of the individuals that banks and insurers that bought software during that time have buyer's remorse. And I'm afraid that the same thing is going to happen because of AI. So if you're not doing the proper procedures when you're vetting and weighing different vendors, if you're just getting caught up in the excitement, you can find yourself in a world of hurt. So I'm educating our teams of the difference between built on and built in. Like I said, SAP sitting on all this data, and AI is nothing new. And for the last 7 or 8 years, we've been building in our different software, AI and machine learning. So there's a tons of functionalities depending on the business process, whether it be in the office of the chief human resource officer, in the office of the chief marketing officer, the chief procurement officer, CFO, what have you. Being able to go ahead and have that data readily available to you and built in is huge. So we want to ensure that customers truly understand what they're buying. And basically, a lot of my job is educating the customer. What's the difference between AI, machine learning? What's ChatGPT mean? What does that fit in your organization? I think it always starts with what's the business process that you want to go ahead and tackle. More often than not, David, we're running right into I would say the chief marketing officer and want to worry about customer experience. But if we don't have that strong data and we don't understand the ethical practices around that, not in line with GDPR and all the different regulations, we can find ourselves in a world of hurt.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about this because we know I've heard roughly in the next couple of years they'll be launching something in the way of an ISO certification around data governance, right, for AI. I think just AI in general, there's some matters that you talk about. There are ethical trends that we need to be aware of, right? What happens to our data, and is SAP coming out with any governance or any technology or methodology to help people so that they can maintain, because there really isn't an ISO cert yet for it, but I could see it coming. And I know that we're all going to have to prepare for this. So as we go through and implement AI solutions. So how's SAP handling? I know from our side, right, just doing data, governance is always at the top, front and center. So I figure some of that carries over, right?
And it does too. And when you work with established organizations like SAP, we've been on the front end of this way before this was trendy and exciting, right? So with all of our software products and services, we have to make sure that number one, first and foremost, we're in compliance. Number two, that we're meeting the different government regulations and standardizations. Plus, we put different guardrails above and beyond what's expected for us there. So AI is nothing new, David, and taking those different steps. And then we have an entire team that's dedicated to monitoring, dedicated to updating and ensuring that we're in line with compliance and regulations. And when you talk about insurance, especially in the United States, each state has the capability and does set forth their own regulations and guidelines. So just making sure that you're in line with that in and of itself is a challenge. And now you go ahead and put AI on top of that. That's a major task for a lot of these different organizations. So we do a really good job behind the scenes to ensure from a cybersecurity standpoint, from a compliance standpoint, from a regulation standpoint, a reporting standpoint, that we have all of our ducks in a row.
So, Lance, how would you help financial services organizations if they're looking to engage or leverage artificial intelligence, generative AI? What key tips would you suggest to them, or what should they be looking at, or maybe what should their first projects be around?
Yeah, so very exciting. So first and foremost, we almost have like a little system in place when we're engaging our clients. We have three what you would call T-shirt sizing, and don't ask me who came up with this, but I think it's cool. We call it chipmunks, penguins, and elephants, David. So a chipmunk would be what we would call our executive first meeting. That's basically maybe a half hour to a 45-minute discussion, just one-on-one with myself, where I'm currently trying to get an understanding of, number one, what's your strategy? What's your vision? What does it mean for you to win in this space? Number two, who's buying in? Do you have from top down? And who's on the boat with you and helping you row? And then number three, why don't we talk about what does it look like, and where do you want to start from a business process standpoint? That's the key, David. You can't eat the elephant all in one bite. You have to identify the business process that you want to go ahead and tackle, and then understand the end to end there, and then understand your capabilities there, right? And then from there, we'll move you into a penguin stage, and basically that'll be roughly about a 90-minute session where we're actually sitting down with you either in person or virtually, and basically giving you a really strong overview of where AI fits in the industry, not only with SAP, and then if we're fortunate enough to have you as a customer, identifying the AI capabilities and machine learning capabilities that you already have, David, that are already embedded in our products and services, and identifying what does that mean and how you can take advantage of that, and then we go ahead and we build out the roadmap for you there. The elephant would be basically a design thinking session where we'd be on site, have our experts to sit down with your experts, and basically put together probably a 1 to 2 day agenda where you would just do like in any type of design thinking session, understand what the true vision is, identify what the barriers are from keeping you from that nirvana state, and then being able to go ahead, have some great ideas around how do we get you there, and then solution after that. So that's basically what we're doing with our clients. It's not just a matter of selling them a software or saying, hey, why don't you go ahead and buy this? We're having those intelligent conversations. They are very open to it. I think it might be a little unique to what they're hearing out there from some others, but that's where we're starting. It sounds like a mouthful, but it's working.
No, you said something interesting. So there's AI potentially already built into what they have. I think that's going to be something, at least for me. I mean, I suspected this early on in my career back in '98 when I started. All I've done for 25 years is SAP,
Yeah.
but I suspected that there was AI going on at that time. Maybe not, but now today we have the processing power, and we can do some really interesting things. I think every single week on Friday, a new announcement, a new breakthrough of what AI is doing, or has happened this week, happens on Friday. They said, "Oh, we thought last week was the most incredible." So I want to ask you, Lance, in our last 5 minutes here, what's the most exciting opportunity, use case, or thought you have around AI?
I would say that it's kind of hard to say because it's all been so very exciting, David.
I agree with you. I'm right there with
Said,
you.
you said Friday. I'm probably getting updates on a daily basis.
I wait now because I don't know if something's going to change on Friday.
I wish it was just Friday. I mean, our team is working so hard behind the scenes, and my hat's off to them. Our developers, wow. Our subject matter experts in this field, our data scientists. I mean, I have to believe they're working around the clock And they're engaging the right partners. We're working with the right companies, whether internally or externally. And we've had some acquisitions here recently that are going to add some dynamics, especially to the generative part of it, right? That's the sexy part, right? But if you don't have that data, what's exciting for me, what's most exciting for me, and I've loved working here for 8 years. This has been just such a blessing for myself and my family, but this last 3-4 months have just been so dynamic and so full of energy. And I really get it. And I'm just like, okay, this is the place to be. Why? Because without the data, you have nothing, David. You have nothing. And
Nothing. I
for us,
agree.
we're basically sitting on this oil field and we control the oil.
I love this analogy. Yeah.
It's amazing. And we're doing the right things. Like I said, that go to market and that basic philosophy that Christian had laid down from reliable, relevant, and responsible, it means a lot to us. And we live that. And knowing that we have that capability to help our customers, I'll get a little sappy with you, but banking's always been near and dear to my heart, as well as insurance, because I talked about that financial health. You want to talk about one of the major reasons for divorce. You want to talk about one of the major reasons for depression, especially in America and Canada. Have your finances out of line and see how you sleep at night, right? So that impacts your health. We're making an impact here, helping these banks, helping them to lower their overall total cost of operation, helping them to lower their overall cost in the organization, helping them increase their revenue, especially banks right now. This is huge, right? Especially with the whirlwinds that we've been in. And then from an insurance standpoint, so much opportunity, especially with the millennials for life insurance. They're being, in a sense, they're not engaging like Gen X did, and especially the baby boomers, right? And we're not selling to them correctly. So there's so much opportunity there. So that's so exciting to me, David, to be on the front end there, to have these capabilities, to be able to go ahead and engage with the clients. The other thing that's exciting is the clients are just as excited as we are. So it's not a matter of, oh, what are we going to talk about today? It's like, what do you have? How does this work? And how do we, when do we get you in here? And I've never been in my 8 years as busy as I am now, where every day I'm having those chipmunk sessions, right? And now we're just starting to grow into penguin sessions, and then we're a little excited to do some elephants. So it's just been amazing.
I know you've been swamped, so I'm super excited that I had the opportunity to bring you on and you were welcoming to come on our podcast. I really appreciate it. Super excited. I hope that we can have you on again and again just talk about the different topics. I mean, okay, so yes, every day it is changing. So I can look forward to. I agree with you. I've been doing, like I mentioned, SAP for a very long time, but I've never been so more excited than I am today, because the opportunity to really do some of the things that were shown to me when I first got into this business, we're doing stuff now that is just next level, right? The things, I really appreciate you coming on and talking about specifically how people can take advantage from financial services organizations right now with what SAP is doing. I'm really excited to see what these next 6 months will bring us.
No, thank you. This has been an awesome opportunity. We're evangelists in my role, so this is exactly what we needed to be doing. And I can't thank you enough for all that you're doing for SAP too, David. So this is a great format, and I do appreciate it. Anytime you need a guest, I'm up for it.
That's awesome, lads. I really appreciate it, and we'll be speaking to you very soon.
Look forward to it. Thank you, David.
Thank you.